Huh? Mm, okay, calm down. Wake up! Consciousness slowly returned to me. It's like I'm falling from a cliff so high that clouds are drifting nearby. The ground is coming closer, but I'm not afraid that I'll die. My fall slows down and my body is smoothly immersed into the warmth ether. Oh, Thumbnail-Material! Und ich dachte schon, diese CG geht unter wie die anderen in dem Intro, ne? Man erinnert sich, als man mit Uljana im Gras gelegen ist, das waren 3 Sprites. Und man sieht im Spiel hier nur einen. Und schaltet auch nur einen frei. Bisschen schade eigentlich, aber gut. I opened my eyes. You sleep through your whole life like that? Then I looked at me seriously. Ah, what? We're there already? Where's there? I looked around. A bench, the square, Genda. But how? I was on a bus going to the district center. Why are you looking at me if you've seen a ghost? As if you have seen a ghost. But why am I still here? Why are we still here?
Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg.
For a second I felt a terrible fear.
The body I've lost.
Will I never get out of this place? We were on the bus together. On the bus? Yesterday. Yesterday? Yes, yesterday. Don't you remember? Then I started thinking. Yesterday, I don't remember anything like that. Maybe you just had a bad dream. Considering that all that has happened already seems like a hallucination. This must be a dream within a dream then. Schon wieder? Well, let's take it slowly. I tried to think logically. The session ended yesterday. All pioneers left, but we stayed. And then we took a bus and headed to the district center. And I surely looked perplexed. Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding anyone. Today is the last day. Wait. So, how much time have I spent here? Lena started to count off on her fingers. Looks like 7 days. Not 8? It's 7. Definitely 7. I gave an exhausted sigh and covered my face with my hands. Well, that's another riddle in the long list of the camp's mysterious. Well, okay. Though I have a feeling that we won't manage to leave today either. Why? Sixth sense. You're acting a bit strange today. I suppose I have more reasons. Want to tell me? I gazed at her attentively. I do. Sure, why not? When I had a real chance to break free from this camp, everything failed. So, what do I have to lose now? Now, where do I start? Start from the beginning. Yes, of course. Well, I was born, I studied, married. Well, okay, I haven't got married yet. You still have time. Yes, but, well, in a few words, like, I'm not from this world. From the look she gave me, it was clear she didn't understand me at all. I came here accidentally, even I don't know how. So, what does your world look like? Lena asked seriously. It's virtually the same, but 20 years ahead of our world. Do you already have spaceflight? Well, if it comes to that, you have it as well. However, we haven't made any great achievements in that field yet. Sounds interesting. I was unable to tell if Lena was taking me seriously or was just pretending to do so. I used to live in a completely different place as well, far away to the north, judging from the landscape in a big city. Dude, du kennst deine eigene Scheißstadt nicht. I've never been to the big cities. Maybe that's for the best. Will you show me your house? It seems like she was taking this conversation as seriously as I was. Well, I'm not even sure if it exists in this world. Oh, come on. Lena pouted. Well, sure I will. So, how do you get here? One evening I took a bus, Route 410, and woke up here. I don't know anything more than that. The 410 route? That's the one that stops just outside the camp. Yes, but my 410 travels in another place and time. Are you planning to return? Lena said, and I noticed a note of unhappiness in her voice. I have no idea how to. And if you knew? You're asking tough questions. What's wrong? Nothing, but... You see, I only just recently started to adjust to being here. The first hours in this camp were such a shock for me that I don't know. It's okay. You still have time to think about it. Time to think. It seems that even if Lena believed me, she considers this whole situation was just a typical inconvenience and nothing more. Anyway, it's not up to me. Possibly even if I do want to stay. You see, the one who brought me here can take me back as well. I believe that any event in a person's life has a reason. Therefore, you are here for some reason. Maybe. And if you haven't returned, you must be needed here. Well, I can't rule out that interpretation. Hey, time to pack your stuff. The camp leader's voice sounded from afar. Hear that? Hear that? I don't have much to pack. Warte mal, welche Uhrzeit haben wir? Es ist Nacht? Aber anscheinend ist Mittag oder so. Dieses CG funktioniert gerade irgendwie nicht mit dem Text. Aber okay. But I do. So meet you near the bus. Would you like me to help? Es ist wirklich Abend. Thanks, but there's no need. Hannah smiled and ran off towards the cabin. I remained sitting on a bench, trying to cope with the shock. My thoughts were still in chaos, one theory replacing another. On one hand, me being unable to get out of this camp isn't all that odd compared to me finding myself here in the first place, but... What now? What am I supposed to do? Is there any chance that I can leave? Is there any chance that I can leave camp if I try again? Anyway, what's the point in being nervous? By now I know perfectly well that absolutely nothing is up to me. Maybe I just have to sit back and enjoy the ride? I couldn't help smiling. Especially now, when I have an additional reason not to be in any hurry to leave. And that reason is Lena. Maybe she's right and I'm here for some reason. In the end, even if I can narrow down the possible explanations for my situation to a reasonable minimum, there will still be 1,001. And if I keep exhausting myself analyzing them, I'll just go mad. Maybe it's time I make a choice. Maybe this world is not so bad after all. Especially since for the first time in a long time I have something to live for. It's still a vague something, but still I have it. It exists. And now I have the power not to simply hold it, but to develop into something bigger. With such thoughts, I stood up and started walking to Olga's cabin in order to pack my humble belongings and leave the Sovietunion pioneer camp forever. What the fuck, dude? One may think it's strange, and that's exactly how it seemed to me, but eventually we reached the district center. I eventually got tired in the bus and fell asleep. When I woke up, I ran up and down the aisle of the bus, gasping for air, but soon I realized that this long week is over. At last, I managed to break free from the camp. All the time I spent there seemed like so much longer than 7 days. And now everything is over. Soon after that, events moved with frightening speed. No time left for self-analysis or seeking answers. Moreover, from time to time, I completely forgot about the camp. Like anyone who found themselves in a completely strange environment, I was completely lost. I had no papers, not even a simple birth certificate, and no skills to earn a living. Professions such as computer specialist or call center operator were not in demand. Lena returned to her normal life. She had to graduate from school and get ready to enter university. The pioneer camp was in the south of the USSR. Just as I would assume, Lena lived in a town with a population of about 100,000. It was easy to get there by bus from the district center. There was nothing special about the town. One big factory, rows of 5-story houses, wooden huts on the outskirts, a grocery store that closed at 7 p.m, and a supermarket. A true Eden for shopaholic, with choices including rubber winter shoes, women's sheepskin coats, and men's muskrat hats. Richtig Gopnik, Alter. Before I would already be trying to run away from the place like this, but now it was my home. Cases of starvation were rare in the 23rd century Europe. I managed to find a job. I was employed as a turner's assistant in a factory and was also given a room in a hostel. Over time, this initially difficult and strange job started to bring a certain satisfaction. Partially, I don't know. Of course, that came from having the ability to buy food. Time passed and I climbed up a career ladder, becoming the head of a whole shift. My colleagues were amazed at my talent and persistence, and so I was. Then I graduated from school and I spent several nights with a calculator, designing diagrams of expenses and income, and at last made up my mind to propose to Lena. I don't remember now if it took a lot of time for her to think. If she suggested we sign a marriage contract, or if she protested because of the lack of a dowry. But in a short time, both of us moved into a communal apartment from near the factory that cost 2/3 of my salary. Das ist verdammt viel, Alter. Die Mieten müssen echt extrem hoch gewesen sein in Russland. Oder sind immer noch hoch. Thanks to free Soviet education for everyone, or maybe thanks to my wise persistence, eventually I became a part-time student at the local polytechnic university. At first I protested, saying that a fair proletarian had no need to act like the loose intellectuals, but then I came to the conclusion that a diploma would make my life easier. It wasn't difficult to study, thanks to my knowledge from my last attempt of receiving a higher education. Time passed and the country started to change. Of course I knew it would happen, but still the changes came out of the blue. You could compare it to being caught in an avalanche in the mountains. You can prepare all you like, but it will still bury you anyway. The factory was privatized and then closed down. Moonlighting as a private driver in the Kopeka Rattletrap, der VAZ 12101, very cheap and old, vermutlich ein Wohler oder sowas, was even ready to apply, I inherited from my father-in-law was not really a profitable business. I was even ready to apply for camp leader position in Sovietnik, when Lena's distant relative died and left us a one-room apartment somewhere in central Russia. After a family council we decided to move. We greeted the early 90s in cramped kitchen in Khrushchevka, watching Swan Lake. Thanks to random side jobs I saved some money and we decided to move to a bigger city. And of course, I choose my birthplace. Khrushchevka is a low-cost concrete panel 3 to 5-storied building developed in USSR during the reign of Nikita Khrushchev. We decided to sell the flat and use the money to invest in business. For some time we lived in luxury, buying mink fur coats and expensive foreign cars, dining in restaurants, taking trips to other countries. Like many others during that time, I had the luck to somehow make it big, starting from the bottom. Oh, dude! Was ist da los? Das läuft doch viel zu gut, Alter. My business was construction material retail. It was a profitable market at the time because people made excessive money that they wanted to invest in luxurious homes. Maybe such life could have gone on, but the 90s were called wreckish for a reason. After encountering rackets and corruption, I was left with an empty refrigerator, an empty wallet, and a bitter taste of blood in my mouth. That was the time I tried to recall my man from the future status. Betting places that were impossible to the Soviet era popped up all over, and I rushed to gamble on everything I knew. However, I faced new disappointments as matches were won by completely different teams. Even the 1994 World Cup champion was in Brazil. Oh. Ja, das lutscht Arsch, ne? Das ist... When I was just watching a football on TV, everything went as it should. But whenever I spent the last of my money to make a bet, even underdogs began phenomenally beating favorites. Oh, dude, jetzt spielen die ganze Zeit gegen uns, huh? As well as that, I tried to pursue the career of a political advisor. However, you don't get accepted into a high position like that without special connections or anything that would make people interested. I don't know how long I would have gone through this torment if not for an event which changed everything. Me and Lena had a child. In a hurry, I started to search for any possible way to earn enough to provide for my family. I remembered some of my father's old friends, and through them, by pretending to be a distant relative of myself, I gained a place as a junior data analyst in a bank. At the same time, I made a new attempt to obtain my degree. Junior data analyst, aha. Time passed slowly. The money was just enough to fill our stomachs. I almost lived at work for days. Trying to find some time for my exams, Lena stayed at home with the baby. That was when I started writing. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was just after midnight, and I was sitting in the kitchen in front of my old worn-out i386, wildly killing monsters in Doom 2. I wanted to sleep badly, but computer games at least slightly distracted me from the infinity of dull days. When I completed another level, I was suddenly immersed in thoughts about everything I had gone through during the last few years. It was all too much for one person. That's when I decided to write down everything that had happened to me. I launched the word processor and wrote down about 200 words, with the clear intent of continuing it tomorrow. However, I didn't remember it tomorrow, nor even a week later. About a month later, Lena, who was typing something on the computer, reminded me of the unfinished book. I reread it and deleted it, terrified. At that moment I started to doubt if I could ever do it. After all, it was an entire epic novel, and I wasn't even able to string 2 sentences together. In addition, it's not easy to write about yourself. Creative work put on the back burner for now. I celebrated the arrival of the year 2000 as a certified specialist with the department head duties. While moving to another department, I found my old i386 among the trash that was to be thrown away, and I remembered my intention of writing a book about my life. I laughed. How stupid. However, after some time I opened my laptop and made a sort of draft of short story about a young man without a definite occupation or aspirations, who finds himself on a different planet. The style, orthography and punctuation, as well as the idea itself, were matched well to such a silly plot. I showed the story to my wife. She laughed but said that it was well written and advised me to continue. About a year later, the drawer designated for holding my literary literary works was full. I found it very odd because I was spending entire days at work, sometimes even during holidays, and I tried to spend all my mein Mund ist fusselig. All my available free time with my family. However, that's what happened. Around that time I decided to publish my short stories. As with any other beginner's work, most of mine were rejected. But a couple of them were accepted, including my first work. I was over the moon. Of course I was paid in nothing but my works will be read, meaning that someone will find them interesting. Time passed. We had a second baby now. During my spare time, I slowly wrote a novel. No, not about my life, or the pioneers' camp. I decided not to touch upon those themes ever again. Everything that happened years ago seemed to be the will of God, whose charities should not be tempted. Who can tell what would have happened if I hadn't woken up in a bus near Soviet camp gates? A year later the novel was completed. After I would be annoyed almost all known publishers, I managed to reach an agreement with a small company. The editor, an elderly man wearing a wrecked tweed jacket and thick spectacles, which almost rubbed against his magnificent grey mustache, told me, "Your level is average, young man. Average, yes. But the idea itself is interesting. Interesting, yes. Well, you need more practice and, more reading, yes." I remember these words for the rest of my life. I dispensed the copies that were sent to me as a part of my royalty agreement among my friends and colleagues. Lena, who read my novel only after it was published, told me that she really liked it, mostly out of a desire to not upset me, I guess. Time passed. The calendar days were unstoppably approaching the day when I was pulled out of my usual world and thrown into this life, starting from the mysterious pioneer camp and now ended up here. Now I am a successful writer, at least according to the number of copies my books have sold. I have a wonderful wife and 2 children. My life has turned 180 degrees. Midnight tonight is the start of something new. Tomorrow is the day that I was awaiting for so many years. Oh, dude. What are you thinking about? Wir sind alt! Und heilige Scheiße, wir sehen unsere Augen! Wir sehen unsere Augen! Oh, abseits des Intros. Und Lena ist hässlich geworden. Oh, du, das ist etwas, wovor ich so Angst habe, ohne Scheiß. Älter werden. Ich meine, ich finde jetzt schon meine Veränderung von als ich 15, 16 war bis jetzt, wo ich jetzt 22 bin, schon so extrem. Ja, meine Haare, meine Frisur, ich habe so heftige Geheimratsecken bekommen, ne? Meine Pony-Frisur ist eigentlich fast so gut wie ruiniert. Und das macht mich ziemlich traurig. Und wenn ich mir so überlege, ich und meine Freundin, wenn es wirklich passieren sollte, dass wir weiterhin zusammenbleiben und wir älter werden und... oh, dude. Man sagt ja immer so, wenn du wissen willst, wie deine Freundin später aussieht, dann guck ihre Mutter an. Und ne, möchte ich nicht. Oh Mann, Alter. Ist wieder ein bisschen fies gegenüber meiner Freundin, ne? Aber nee, Quatsch. Aber trotzdem ist es immer so ein Gedanken, den ich hab. Oh, Jesus. I opened my eyes and saw Lena. She put a cup of tea on the table near an armchair. Firewood was gently cracking in fireplace and a snowstorm was roaring outside. Oh ja, ich sehe den Schneesturm, es sieht aus wie Sommernachmittags. I wrapped myself up in a plaid blanket and looked at Lena. Dude, du sitzt in der fucking Küche. Wo zur Hölle bist du? Was hat der Zeichner wieder für eine Scheiße gebaut? Ja, also die, mach ein Bild von, Semyon und Lena, wo sie so 40 sind. Ah ja, alles klar. Muss ich sonst noch was wissen? Nö. Und dann ist dieses Bild entstanden. Wieder zusammenhanglos zu dem Text, den man liest. Do you know what day it is? No, what day? Do you remember what I told you back there in the camp? No. No wonder, during all these years I would never brought up the topic of my mysterious arrival in this world. Do you remember how I told you that I am not from this world? Lena paused. Well, something like that, yes. So today is the day when, many years ago, I got on the 410 bus and woke up at the pioneer camp. So it's an anniversary? Lena smiled. Yes, sort of. Is it a sad celebration for you? No, not at all. And I remember almost nothing about the time. Maybe that's for the best. I added some firewood to the fire and took the mug from the table. Maybe I'll write a novel. You will read it and remember. Do you think that's a good idea? Lena's expression became serious. Indeed, I once promised myself that I would never write about it. Maybe it's not. After all, everything that happened to us, that happened is just for us. That's exactly what I think. I sighed and looked at the fire. You know, life is like a candle. Someone's got the short one, someone got the long one, and it can burn out. Was it? And it can burn out at any moment. Then your life is like a fireplace. Yes, perhaps. I looked at her and smiled. I'll sleep for a while longer. Lena kissed me and fixed her gaze on the fire in a dreamy manner. My eyes closed and my whole reality compressed itself down to the crackling of the firewood. I started falling slowly somewhere far away. No, it was not a dream, more like a warm adder, gently enveloping my entire existence. Living the dream. Lena, good end. Every story has its beginning and its end. Ja. Was war das? Was war das? Was war das? Mehr kann ich nicht sagen. Ich kann einfach nur sagen, was war das? Denn ich finde, die Story hat so gut angefangen. Oh Mann, sie hatte so viel Potenzial für eine andere Richtung. Ja? Oh, ich weiß nicht. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich mit dem Ende zufrieden sein soll, weil es ist einfach wieder dieser Sprung am Ende in eine andere Realität einfach wieder. Da war es so. Es ist einfach so ungewohnt. Weil bei jeder anderen Story landen wir früher oder später, bis auf die komische Miku-Story, landen wir früher oder später wieder zurück im Apartment. Also es gibt jetzt hier anscheinend irgendwie 2 verschiedene Endings, ja. Und so, nennen wir ihn mal Original Semyon, pennt irgendwo ein am Ende und kommt dann nochmal in einer anderen Realität raus, ja. Bei der Mikrorealität war es ja aber so, da war es nicht der alte Semyon oder der originale Semyon. Da war es ja wie ein komplett anderer Semyon. Ah, Dude. What in the fuck? Oh, scheiße, ich weiß nicht, wie viel haben wir jetzt? 2:30. Ja, komm, scheiß drauf.